Do you struggle to keep up when you're playing in a session? Here are 5 reasons why you can't play fast and how to fix them. Number 1, you're trying too hard. So often in a session, I'll see people who've been playing sometimes for years, oftentimes not as many years, but they're super tense. All their muscles are tight, they're all wound up. The faster the tunes go, the harder they try, and the harder they try, the more tense their muscles in their forearm and their wrist and their shoulder, everything gets tighter. You cannot play fast if you are tensed up and your muscles are tight. No matter how fast you're going, you stay relaxed. If you think about it, I'm nice and relaxed, but if I tense up my muscles, the stick does not flow. It doesn't move. I'm having to put way more energy into it to actually get it to go. And it's a struggle. Stay relaxed. Also, remember to breathe. Sometimes people hold their breath when they're playing when something is difficult. Breathe, okay? Breathe. Number 2, you're moving your arm too much. This is one of the biggest reasons I notice people struggling to play fast. As the speed goes up, they start to move their arm more and more and more and more. The arm starts going up and down, or the elbow might start moving out in and out. The shoulder goes up, everything starts moving around. Relax your shoulder, relax your elbow, relax your forearm, and keep it all in the twist. It's incredibly logical when you think about it. You can move a smaller area of your hand, being your wrist, your forearm, twisting, faster than you can move your entire forearm back and forth. For me to even do that, I was biting down my lip because I was having to exert so much energy to have to move the stick at the same speed. Don't move your arm. If you're enjoying the video so far, please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any suggestions yourself on how to build speed when you're playing the bodhran, please leave a comment below. Number 3, your grip. If you're holding the stick too tight in your hand, you're not allowing the stick to have any freedom. When you're holding the stick, you should have a little bit of give in the stick so it can freely move and have this natural pendulum effect so that the stick can swing back and forth freely on its own a little bit. If you grip the stick too tightly, you have no swing, you have no pendulum, you have no momentum now in the stick, and therefore to get the stick to move as much as it would if it was looser, all that energy again travels up into your arm and you're having to use more and more and more rotation to get the speed up and to get the stick actually swinging. So here's me starting with a nice loose grip where the stick has enough room to move on its own. I'm going to get tighter and tighter and tighter on that grip, and you'll see how it forces all the energy into my arm to keep up the speed. Also, the angle that the stick's actually hitting the drum is going to affect it, okay? When you hit the drum, there should be a natural bounce back off the skin for you from the stick. Sometimes I see people play like this. They're holding their hand very far away from the drum and they're holding the stick at almost a 45-degree angle to their forearm. And what's happening there is they're playing more so with the end of the stick. Which is preventing the stick to have a natural bounce back off the skin. So as opposed to playing at this angle, try and close the angle off so you're playing with more the corner of the stick, so then you have a more natural bounce back off the drum. That will also help with speed. Similarly, from having it at this angle to having it close but with the wrist very far bent back, you're putting your wrist in a very, very awkward situation there. And it's forcing your hand to do a lot more of the work to move the stick, as opposed to letting the natural pendulum effect and bounce back of the stick do a lot of the work for you. As soon as I moved in towards the drum, my wrist got a little bit straighter. My wrist and my hand and everything became far more relaxed. I felt far more comfortable and I felt like I could play faster. So watch the angle of your wrist and watch the angle of the stick attacking the drum head. Number 4, your actual bodhran and stick. So if your bodhran is tuned down quite a lot and it's very low, if it's too low, there won't be enough tension in the skin to get that bounce back. That is going to make it a lot harder to play at greater speeds. A way around that is to actually tune up the drum slightly, make it a little bit tighter, so you've got more of that bounce back off the stick, off the drum head when you're playing. It's going to make it easier again to build up that speed. Also the stick. If your stick is very heavy, that is going to cause you to have to grip the stick slightly more aggressively, which again is going to put tension into your arm and make it harder to move the stick faster. Even though heavier sticks, those sticks with the kind of the bigger ball ends on them, even though it makes it easier for that pendulum effect, there's a Goldilocks scenario where you're looking for something in between, because even though it'll have a great pendulum effect and you'll feel like you've got a great big swing, you're having to grip that stick tighter to get it to move faster and change direction more often, more quickly. You get what I'm saying? So there's a Goldilocks effect where you need to try and narrow down the heaviness of it so it's not too light that you're losing that you feel like you're losing that pendulum effect, but it's not too heavy that is causing you to have to grip the stick tighter in order to move it faster. Also, you can experiment with sticks. This is a hot rod stick. It's made up of little individual dowels. Some have a large dowel in the center, surrounded by individual ones. They tend to be quite springy. When you hit the drum head, it bounces back quickly. Makes it a lot easier to play at speed as well. Worth checking out. You can find those kind of tippers at Falconwood Tippers, or you can find them at Stevie Moyes' Tippers as well. So check both those websites out. And number 5, you're not practicing efficiently. When you're looking to play faster tempo tunes, bear this in mind. As you get faster, do not try to play super loud. Do not think about, okay, faster is bigger is louder. That's not the case. You can play slow and very loud, or you can play slow and very quiet. So what's stopping you from playing fast and quiet? Again, you're trying to conserve this energy. Hold yourself back from playing very, very heavy when you're trying to play faster. It makes life so much easier. It's far better to play fast, quiet, and clearly than it is to play fast, loud, and messy. Volume will come over time, but as you're trying to build up your speed and get to those high tempos, do not in any way be bothered about playing loud. Next thing, keep it simple. You do not have to throw in everything that you know. If you're somebody who plays lots of single-ended triplets, offbeat, swing grooves, different syncopated patterns, lots of different stuff. You may be very comfortable doing them at lower speeds, and you might have your tempo where you can get it up to, but then you can't get past that tempo with that stuff. Simplify it first. Take a lot of the more technical things out of your playing, get comfortable, stay relaxed, feel comfortable within the session, and maybe start throwing things in now and again. Also, it's very important to build up the speed. I am a professional bodhran player for many years now. I've taught for the last 15 years. I am a 2-time All-Ireland bodhran champion. And yet, when I take the bodhran out of its case and I start to play, if the tempo is very high, I am going to struggle. What I find the best thing to do is to build the speed up. If I have to do a recording for an album, or if I have to practice something for a gig, anything like that there, and the tempos are quite high, I won't go into it straight away without having warmed up. Sometimes I'll put on some music that's at a nice medium tempo. Where I'm very, very comfortable doing all my little bits. Then I might put on something that's a bit faster. Then I might put on something that's a bit faster. At that stage, that could take about 15-20 minutes, but I'm doing it so gradually that I'm very, very comfortable the whole time, and I don't feel like I'm struggling. I'm not getting frustrated about not being able to keep up, because I'm putting stuff up gradually, ever so slightly. Or if you're one of these people who prefer practicing with a metronome, I do a little bit of both now and again. I still love playing with tunes though, but if you prefer doing it with a metronome, it's a great way of doing it as well, okay? Put your metronome on 70, stick it up to 75, 80, 85, and when it gets to about 85, maybe go up in increments of like 2 or 3 then, and see if you can get up to around 110, 115. If you're at 110 playing a 4/4 reel, you are flying it, okay? You've achieved speed. A little bit more real world advice. If you're in the actual session and you're playing and somebody starts a set of tunes and it's quite fast, don't just try and hop on the train. What I mean by that is they're playing away, and then you try and start in on the beat, okay? What I tend to do a lot of the time is the tune might be playing, I will play nice and light and quietly before a part comes around, the start of a part comes around again, and I will edge my way into the tune so that I'm adjusting to the speed before I kind of come in nice and loud into the tune. Again, something like this. It's a great way of sort of just like building up speed. It's imagine if you're watching somebody taking a long jump. They don't just stand on the spot and jump. They run and then they jump. Same thing in principle. Also, take breaks. So whether you're at home practicing with some tunes, when you start to get tired, try and keep going for a little bit longer to see, but then when you start to feel it really starting to unravel, just stop, okay? Stop for a moment, take a little break, yeah? Maybe keep the music playing, and then join back in again. Same way we talked about, maybe just lean back into it again and repeat that and see how long you can keep that speed up. You will be able to keep it up longer and longer and longer. Also, that works in an actual session. For example, you've joined the tune, but you're starting to get a bit tired. See if you can hold on to the change into the next tune. So when this change tune from say the first tune to the second tune, it is more than acceptable for you to take a little sneaky break. Sometimes people have this paranoia when they're in a session that if they stop during a set, people are going to look at them and think, oh, they messed up, or they're incapable of keeping up, or they're incapable of actually playing. Absolutely not. Sometimes I'll do it. Sometimes I'm just tired and the tunes are super fast. When it changes tune, I'll just stop for a second. 2 things can happen there. Number 1, you're getting a rest, right? And number 2, you're allowing everyone, the melody players around you, to actually be able to hear the change of the tune so they can pick up the new tune and join back in. And then when they've joined back in, you've had your little rest, you hop back in again, okay? Because what you're trying to do is build up your stamina, okay? And you can do that in the session, in real life situations. Take little breaks. For hours and hours of individual bodhran lessons, you can visit my Patreon page where you'll find me at Paul McClure Bodhran. I have a Beginner's Guide to Bodhran, and I also have a tips, tricks and tasty bits tier, which is aimed at intermediate to advanced players, showing more technical beats, patterns, ornamentations and little tricks like that. So that's Paul McClure Bodhran on Patreon.